I have in here this piece of sharp cheddar cheese that I love to use on my savory biscuit recipe. This cheese gives a great flavor to any recipe, and I love to use it with many of my bread recipes. So to start this recipe, shred 100 grams or 1 1/4 cups of sharp cheddar cheese. Look at this beautiful cheese. It will make very delicious biscuits. And I also have in here these fresh chives that complement perfectly the flavor profile of these biscuits. This is about 15 grams or 1/4 cup of chopped chives. Do not chop the chives too finely so you can feel their texture on your final bread. Pour in a bowl 120 grams or half a cup of milk. Add 50 grams or 1/4 cup of sourdough starter or sourdough whisker. Mix with a silicone spatula until the sourdough starter dissolves in the mix. Now, in another bowl, place 200 grams or 1 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour and 6 grams or 1 teaspoon of sea salt. Mix the flour and the salt well with a dough whisk. Now, add 80 grams or 1/3 of a cup of very cold butter cut into small pieces. Use a pastry cutter or a pastry blender to blend the butter and flour together. I recommend you to freeze the butter before starting this recipe. The key for flaky biscuits is to maintain the butter as cold as possible. Blend the flour and the butter until the mix looks like this one. Then add the chives and mix well with the dough whisk. And finally, add the shredded cheddar cheese and mix in the same way. Add the mix of milk and sourdough starter and mix all the dough until there are no dry spots of dough remaining in the dough. Place all the dough on the counter and use a spatula or a bench knife to bring all the dough together. Always avoid touching the dough with your warm hands so the butter doesn't melt in the process. Use a biscuit cutter to cut the biscuits. I recommend you to avoid twisting the biscuit cutter. Twisting the cutter seals the edges, which keeps your biscuits from rising high. Place the biscuits in a baking tray, cover them with a plastic lid or a plastic wrap, and place them in the fridge to proof at least for 4 hours, but up to 12 hours. We are proofing these biscuits for a long time to enjoy the benefits of the slow fermentation and the good bacteria in our sourdough starter. Now, there is a quicker method to make these delicious biscuits. You can use a food processor to speed up the whole process. And if you don't want to wait 8 hours to bake your biscuits and you don't mind losing the benefits of a slow fermentation, add 1 teaspoon of baking powder to this recipe and you can bake the biscuits as soon as you cut them. But for a recipe with slow fermentation, take the biscuits out of the fridge and place them in a cast iron pan. A cast iron pan will give you best results when baking biscuits, so use one if you have it at hand. If not, use any baking tray. Brush the biscuits with egg wash and place them in a preheated oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit or 220 degrees Celsius for about 20 minutes or until they are golden brown. These biscuits have a very crunchy crust, a very flaky, soft and delicious crumb thanks to the layers of butter, and a delicious flavor that will captivate your palate and your senses. I hope you can make them and enjoy them. You can eat them with some butter or just by themselves because they are surely delicious. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and share this video. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I have a new video every week.